It has been 6 years since the newest release in the Legend of Zelda franchise. With the upcoming sequel to Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, we will take a final look at what made Breath of the Wild the beloved game that it is. First revealed in 2013, 10 years ago from recording, Breath of the Wild went through years of development and many trailers building anticipation for its release. It promised to be an exciting addition to the Zelda franchise with its 3D open world, unique art direction, setting, enemies, and the freedom to explore wherever, whenever. One thing was for sure, I was excited. And it was clear it was not going to be your grandpa's Zelda game. But could it possibly live up to the series' past while paving its own way forward? March 3rd, 2017. The release date finally arrived. After working the morning shift, I went down to the local game store to pick up the long-awaited Nintendo Switch and critically acclaimed 1-2 Switch, which I later returned, but we're getting off topic. Zelda was finally in my hands, and it was time to see what all the hype was truly about. Upon starting the game and exploring the Great Plateau while unlocking the Sheikah abilities, I immediately knew that this was something special. Just as older titles, it did not like to hold your hands. Players had to rely on NPCs and books for hints to learn more about the world and lore, rather than on-screen tutorials. Although the quest page and very useful interactive map is nice, it only goes so far. Once I completed the plateau, it was time to explore in any direction I choose and uncover the mysteries of Hyrule. The first objective I set for myself: conquer all Cuckoos. Perhaps I set my goal too high. Instead, I would reach for Zora's Domain, no particular reason, and complete the first dungeon of the game. The dungeons in Breath of the Wild are vastly different from the traditional Zelda dungeons, as they are more open-ended with multiple ways to solve puzzles. Combat was hardly ever the focus in these dungeons, at least not until facing the final boss. Beating these bosses often required players to integrate their Sheikah abilities to overcome the trials. Other than the main dungeons, shrines were spread all around Hyrule to act as mini-dungeons. Players would often be tasked with solving puzzles or engaging in combat, and players had the freedom to create their own solutions, which was really liberating. That, or you could just bomb blast your way to the finish line. This game's massive open world was explorative, experimentative, and imaginative as ever. There's no easy feat conquering the entire land of Hyrule. While on the roads, players could come across travelers who may need assistance, as they often got in trouble with the local Baku goblins. A few towns, often safe havens for common folk of Hyrule, are scattered all around with their local shops and side quests, which always needed Link's help. Terrytown Best Quest! Besides towns, there's something else that needed Ada around almost every corner. The Koroks. Koroks are little friendly tree people that are absolutely littered in the world, giving you many mini puzzles or challenges to complete in exchange for seeds that let you upgrade your arsenal slots. And oh boy, you're gonna need them. There are many weapons in Breath of the Wild: 127 weapons, 33 shields, and 25 bows. Don't quote me on that, but that's the information I dug up. On top of that, they can individually drop with perks that enhance them. A Hoarder's Beware, you'll never be able to keep all your weapons neat and shiny due to the game's weapon degradation system. The weapon degradation had many Zelda fans up in arms and thought to worsen the overall experience of the game. I never felt this way, as I would often find myself recycling weapons right into a listful's face, so I could pick up a better one. So as for the story in Breath of the Wild, a good portion takes place in the past of 100 years ago, and now present-day Link is set out to uncover what happens in order to fix their shortcomings.
It's just
With this knowledge, he seeks out allies, new and old, to retake power from the Calamity's hand. You can skip a lot of the backstory in this game, but that's why I think most of the meat and potatoes lie. So unless you're a no-nonsense kind of Link, I wouldn't recommend it. There are many unanswered questions by the time the game ramps up, but I assume that's the lead building blocks for the sequel to work with. Within the last 6 years, I've spent over 1,000 hours in this version of Hyrule across many different playthroughs, including Master Mode and DLC. It is challenging to say if the fact Breath of the Wild will last in the future of the series, but it feels like a new start, and a welcome one at that. Though changes were made that may be difficult for some seeking a traditional experience, I think the new Zelda style could make for a fantastic future if they incorporate some 2D Zeldas in between to compensate. While it may not be my favorite entry in the Legend of Zelda series, it is the one that I've had the most fun in. Or should I say the most fun I've had in so far. So here's to Tears of the Kingdom, and hope it will carry us to the next Zelda game, just as Breath of the Wild has.